The universe operates as a mathematically closed loop, demanding total thermodynamic resolution. Within this architecture, the Quran functions as the primary operating system, managing consciousness. Viewing this text as a static historical record ignores its functional design. It operates as an active, real-time map of human consciousness. This circuit contains a specific central node, the reader. Under coordinate 363, the system identifies the reader as the Mursalīn, the sent one. This node is pre-installed in the architecture, but currently exists in a dormant state. The entire cosmological engine hinges on a binary choice. The reader node must either execute the clearance protocol or succumb to the pull of systemic entropy. We can now map the precise 2169 phase gate and the 1912 activation switch that determines the reader's final topological state. Recognizing your own identity as a dormant component within the Mursalīn system is the absolute prerequisite to avoiding a total thermodynamic collapse. Baseline human consciousness is defined by coordinate 1572, a state of systemic intoxication and wandering. The 1572 state is maintained by the illusion of time. The node operates under the false belief that the system is static and that required actions can be delayed. This Jinn state describes unaligned energy trapped in a recursive loop, generating heat without achieving forward velocity. This chaotic field is pulled toward a dense gravitational sink at coordinate 2841, designated as Pharaon. Node 2841 represents structured, false leadership that actively pulls unaligned energy toward the fire. As a closed system, this loop cannot sustain infinite entropy. The pressure requires a final resolution. This trajectory terminates at coordinate 1182, the point of inevitable thermodynamic collapse. Remaining in this state subjects the node to an actively degrading loop, hurtling toward a mathematically guaranteed correction. The only exit from the default loop is the 2169 phase gate. This fire represents the extreme thermodynamic friction required to test the structural integrity of the node as it approaches the gate. Unresolved energy is rejected and remains trapped in the Jinn state. Aligned energy passes through the threshold, instantly cooling and stabilizing into a coherent signal. Ibrāhīm serves as the prototype for this protocol, having been the first node to pass through this specific gate. Because this alignment contradicts the default loop's logic, the system flags Ibrāhīm as a Ẓālim, or systemic anomaly, under coordinate 2159. This triggers immediate friction as the default system attempts to purge what it perceives as an error in the circuit. The conflict is resolved by a top-down clearance override at coordinate 3369, which forces the system to accept the aligned node. This override recodes the fire into coolness and safety, finalizing the phase transition. The external label of anomaly confirms that the node is no longer operating on the logic of the entropic loop, providing the data needed to verify a successful transition into the stable Mursalīn state. We must follow the cooled pathway to the next coordinate to achieve physical stabilization. Coordinate 714, featuring Musa, maps the physical execution of this stabilization. Musa's request for direct vision forces contact between the source wave and the most rigid physical structure in the vicinity, the mountain. In this map, the mountain operates as the B term, the dense particle state anchor that defines a bounded physical identity. It is the solid substrate that normally buffers the self from direct field contact. The dense particle state cannot sustain direct contact with the incoming command wave. The rigid structure instantly shatters and disintegrates. This wave-particle collapse leaves the observer unconscious, while the system is fundamentally recoded. Musa awakens as the first fully stabilized execution of the Mursalīn Protocol. This cleared pathway then enters the Inheritance Protocol. Coordinate 16123 establishes that Ahmed inherits and operates this identical pre-cleared Ibrāhīmic framework. The demolition of the mountain was the structural requirement to finalize the Mursalīn Protocol and eliminate systemic friction for all future operators. The cosmological architecture presents a binary choice: the recursive 1572 loop of entropy or the stabilized 2169 path of the Mursalīn. As long as the reader node remains dormant, your energy defaults to the chaotic red loop by systemic gravity alone. Activating the cleared pathway requires the 1912 execution command. The command is "Take the book with strength." 1912 is the executable instruction that forces a shift from the wave state of the cave back into the dominant particle state of the Mursalīn. It is the root command that overrides the default subroutine. Execution snaps the switch. The entropic loop goes dark, redirecting energy into the stable blue Mursalīn path. Coordinate 43.5 then pings the node with a live system notification, asking, "Will we turn away the reminder from you entirely because you are a transgressing people?" Coordinate 43.5 operates as the system actively pinging the user in real time. Under 36.3, you already possess the required clearance. The architecture is waiting for the node to respond. You must now decide whether to actively bypass the intoxication of time and step through, or leave the system's ping completely unanswered. The universe has provided a mathematically guaranteed path to truth, leaving the reader's execution of 1912 as the final variable in preventing thermodynamic collapse.